and Sunday, we are having classes at 9 a.m. IST. Please record this time. Please record this time, 9 a.m. IST. We are having classes on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So we had some 7 to 8 holidays. Okay. That we are compensating on Sundays also. So hopefully from here onwards, okay, I will not take any leave. Okay. We'll go on regular basis. So to compensate that holidays what we had, okay, because I was traveling, I was getting stuck in some office commitments and all. So if I come to your last year, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 classes we have not done. We have got 6 holidays. Okay, 6 to 7 holidays we have got. So these holidays will compensate it on Sundays, guys. 9 a.m. IST. We have discussed this yesterday also, right? Yesterday also we have discussed this. So I have already informed to Naresh IT. Okay. No, Kiran, on Saturdays and Sunday, I'm having another batch. Okay, Saturday and Sunday, I'm having another batch, 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's why I'm changing the time on Saturdays and Sundays. Only Saturdays and Sundays, guys. Only Saturdays and Sundays. Monday to Friday, same time only. Okay. Is that clear? Fine. All right, guys. So from where we have to start today? Okay. Implementation steps to copy the data from GitHub to Azure ADL storage services using parameters. Okay. So what we are doing here, first we'll see. Okay. I'll open the material first. Okay. I'll say here material Azure data engineering. Okay, what is the page number? It is 59. Page number, it is saying 59. Okay, implementation steps to copy the data. Okay, copying the data from GitHub. GitHub is one portal. So still now we have taken data from our source system like storage account, on-prem, and CSV file, zip file, etc. So this time it is something different where we are extracting the data. We are extracting the data from the GitHub, okay, to our destination system using ADF. Okay, so what it is saying, step 1, create ADL Gen2 storage account and create a container inside the storage account. So if I log into the Azure portal here, this is my destination storage account. First, it is talking about ADL Gen2. Always remember, ADL Gen2 means destination storage account. In all our labs, ADL Gen2 means we are considering here a destination storage account. Okay, ADL Gen2 storage account and create a container. So the storage account is already there. I'm taking this storage account only. I'll not create again and again. I'll not waste that class time here. So this is the destination storage account and container. This is the destination container I have created. Step 1 is done. Next, it is saying create ADF, launch ADF Studios. So I'll go to home. I'll go for data factories. I'll say here launch ADF Studios. Okay. So I'll say here practice RG. I'll say here Naresh ADF. Okay, 19. I'll say here 74. Okay, next. I'll just go ahead and deploy the data factory. Okay, guys, I'm going little speed here. Okay, I'll go for the data factory provisioning. Okay, let the ADF gets deployed. I'll launch the ADF. Then I'll jump to step 3. I'll create the link services. So the initial 4-5 steps are common. The initial 4-5 steps are common for every lab. If you guys are monitoring, if you guys are noticing, if you guys are observing, the first initial 4-5 steps are common for every lab. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and I'll create the link services. This link services we are creating for our destination. Okay. I'll say here ls ADL Gen 2. Okay. Okay, I'll go to manage. I'll click on link services. I'll say here plus new. I'll say here Gen 2. Continue. I'll give this name. I'll pick the subscription, storage account, destination storage account, and click on create. The next step 4, I'm going for step 4, create a data set. Okay, for ADL Gen 2 storage account under ADF Studios. This data set will be our target data set. Okay, fine. So I'll say here dataset name. I'll come here to author. I'll say here new dataset. I'll say here Gen 2. For my destination, I'm creating a dataset. I'll say here DS underscore destination for this link services. Okay, this is what the container I have created in my destination storage account. Okay, I'll say here, okay. Done. Fine. Now, as per the below diagram, if you see, we are trying to load the data of multiple files which are placed in GitHub. So in GitHub portal, in GitHub platform, whatever you say, we are having multiple files placed. That files we are trying to load it into our destination system using ADF. Okay, so this is file. Okay, some file casedet.csv. This is another file. This file is in my GitHub. Okay, using Azure Data Factory, I'm trying to load it into my ADL Gen 2 storage account, my destination storage account. So if I click here on this link, how to open the link here? Press Control in your keypad and click on it. That's it. The link will get open. So see here, this is our GitHub. See what it is. See my cursor. This is our GitHub portal. This is our GitHub portal. If you say here view raw data, this file is what? casedet.csv file. This file is what? See here, casedet.csv file. Some CSV file is there. If you want to see the raw data of this CSV file, then click on this one, view raw data. See, this is the complete data we are having inside the CSV file. How much data is there? Lot of data, guys. Lot of data is there. This all data now we are loading into our destination storage account. Where? Here we are loading here in our destination storage account. So where is our destination storage account? It is in cloud. It is in cloud. Where is our source file? It is in GitHub. It is in GitHub. How we are doing this operation? Using Data Factory. Okay, the data is here. We want to copy here using Azure Data Factory. Using Azure Data Factory. Okay, so lot of data, plenty of data. This all data I want to copy, and I'm having one more file. Okay, I'll just click on this link. I click on this link. Click raw top right side in this link to see the complete source data. Okay, so see here, this is another file. I'm having data for it. Okay, see, this is what file? Country response.csv. Multiple files I'm having. casedet.csv, country response.csv, hospital admissions.csv, testing.csv. All this is the data that I want to load it into my destination system in my cloud computing using Azure Data Factory. Multiple files I'm having here. This is the links I have given. So instead of hard coding the values, what I'm saying here, instead of hard coding the values, we can pass the parameters for data sets, link services, and at pipeline level. And once we create a parameter, we cannot modify it. So what I'll do, I'll create a parameter, and for that parameter value, whatever the file name I'm passing, whatever the file name I'm passing as parameter value, that file will get loaded automatically. So it's a completely dynamic and parameterized ADF pipelines, wherein you have to just pass the file name as parameter value. Automatically, your ADF pipeline will load the data into your destination systems from your GitHub portal. Very, very, very helpful. Okay, in real-time projects, this is what you do in your real-time projects. This is what you do in your real-time projects, guys. Okay, these labs are very big, not easy also, I can say, but practice, you have to practice. Fine. I'll say here now, launch the ADF Studios, manage link services plus new insert type HTTP. Okay, so what I'm doing here now, there is a slight change. I'll just go here. I'll click on manage link services plus new. I'll say here what HTTP, because this time I'm not fetching my data from my source system, from my storage account. This time my source system is what? GitHub. This time my source system is what? GitHub. So that's why I'm searching here HTTP. Till now for our blob source storage services, we are saying here what? Blob. We are saying here what? Blob, because our data was in our blob storage account. But this time I'm not saying blob, I'm saying here HTTP, select, continue. Okay. Follow the naming conventions, guys. That will make your lab easy. I am giving the name as this one, ls https. Authentication type, I say here anonymous. Okay. Anonymous means no such restrictions. Okay, no such restrictions. It will easily allow you to connect to your GitHub. It will allow your ADF to connect to the GitHub and extract the data. Okay, expand the parameters. In same window, just scroll down, plus new, and give the name as what? Base URL. Give the name as what? Base URL. So I'll say here parameters plus new. Give your name as what? Base URL. Okay, then scroll up a little on base URL box. Okay, scroll up a little on base URL box. Say here add dynamic content and read the value. Okay, clicking means what? Reading the value here, and then say okay. Fine, this is what I have done. I'll say here create. Fine, I have created the link services. Next, click on author, click on three dots, dataset, new dataset in search type HTTP. So one dataset we have already created for our destination. We are creating one new dataset for our source. Obviously, we have to create datasets for both source and destinations. Destination dataset we have created in above steps. Now we are creating the source datasets. So who is our source now? Our source is who? GitHub. Our source is what? GitHub. So I'll say HTTP, continue. Okay, fine. Okay, little slow I'll go, Mr. because see, what is the problem here is, what is the problem? We are doing, okay, daily one lab only. Okay, because the labs are very, very big. Okay, I told initially that I'll go little slow. Okay, in the initial classes, and I went little slow also in the initial classes, right? Initial 3 to 4 classes of ADF, I went very slow because you guys should get used to it. So that is gone now. That's why I'm increasing the speed. A very little I'm increasing the speed. Okay, fine. So please cooperate, guys. Okay, I'll go slow only. I'll try my best. Because see, my target is to complete at least 2 labs, but that is anyhow not happening. You guys are also seeing that one. Right. See, I cannot skip any topic. If I skip any topic, then I have to answer to Naresh IT, because they will check everything, whether the complete syllabus has been covered or not. I cannot give you something as an assignment and I can say that it is finished. That will not work out. One or two or three, I can give you as an assignment. But I cannot say 14, 15 labs you do as an assignment. That will not work out. I have to cover. I have to cover. It's my responsibility. Okay. Fine, guys. Fine, guys. So this is what the point. I have to show you this labs. I cannot give you as an assignment also. That's the problem. Fine. So where I was, guys, please hold on. We'll discuss this after the class. What are the comments you are saying here? Okay. Fine. So we'll discuss this after the class. Okay. So what I'll do here now, I'm creating the data set for my source. And my source is what? My GitHub. I'll take the comments after the class, guys, after the lab. After this lab completes, I'll take the comments. So click on author here, click on three dots, new data set I'm creating, and I'm searching here for HTTP. Okay, I'll search here for HTTP. I'm pulling what files? I'm pulling CSV files. These are all CSV files, right? These are all CSV files. So I'll say here CSV. Now I'll give the name. I'll give it as click on HTTP continue limited text. Okay, and give the name as what? DS input HTTP. I'm giving the name as what? DS input HTTP link services. I'll give LS HTTPS. LS HTTP. This I have created in above step. This link services I have created in above step. Ensure the text box is checked for first row as header. Import schema as none, and then say okay. Done. Fine. Adding parameters to the source data set. Adding parameters to the source data set. What I'll do publish all. I'll do the publish. Okay, let the publishing gets completed here. Hold on. Fine. So publishing is completed here. Publishing completed. Click on close. Close these data sets now. After publishing is completed, you can close the data sets. Okay. Before that, if you are closing, then you may lose what you have implemented. That's why do always publish. Click on parameters tab, plus new, pass name, base URL. Okay. So what I'll do here, I'll open the URL here, click on parameters tab, plus new. Okay. And give the name as what? Base URL. I'll say here base URL. Click plus new again and pass the name as relative URL. Two parameters I'm defining. Why I'm defining these two parameters? Okay. This parameter is for your GitHub main portal. Okay. This parameter is for your GitHub main portal, and this parameter is for your file name. Here you will pass this parameter value, you pass as your GitHub portal link, and this parameter value you pass as your file name. So whatever the file name you are passing, automatically that file will get loaded into your destination. That's why we are defining these two parameters where at a source data set. Who is the source? Source is GitHub. That's why I'm defining these two parameters here. Fine. So I have given the two parameters. Click on connection tab. Click on base URL text box. Click on this connection tab. Click on the base URL text box. Add dynamic content here and say here base URL. Okay. Click once on base URL in open window. Okay. Okay. Fine. Say here base URL. Say here okay. Fine. Then this is your next relative URL. This is your file parameter. Okay, now click on relative URL box, add dynamic content. Relative URL box, add dynamic content, say here relative URL, say here okay. Don't do the mistakes, guys. You have to be very careful. Do publish here. Okay, what I'm saying here, do publish so that all link services, datasets, parameters, pipelines, etc. we have created will get saved. All that what we have created will get saved. Okay. Next, creating a pipeline. Okay, link services, datasets, parameters we have defined. Now we'll start for the pipeline creations. So let the publishing gets completed here. We'll hold on for 1 minute. Publishing got completed. Good. I'll come here and I'll say here new pipeline. I'll say here new pipeline. Okay. Click on three dots, new pipeline, give name as parameterized pipeline. I'll give it as parameterized pipeline. Then click on parameters plus new. Okay. Click on this parameters plus new. I'm giving two parameters here, source base URL and source relative URL. Okay. I'll say here source base URL and I'll say here source relative URL. These two parameters I'm defining at pipeline level. Okay. This is for my GitHub website. This is for my file. Okay. This is for my file. In activities pane, okay, in search type copy data and drag and drop the copy data control. Okay. And give the name as well, copy the data. Okay. I'll say here copy data, drag and drop and say here copy data. Okay, this is what done. Now copying the data from GitHub to ADL Gen2 storage account, click on copy data control. Okay, click on source tab, click on source data set box and select the data set. This is we have created for our data set. So select here. Okay, say here and select this data set. This is our data set. So see, for this data set, we have created two parameters, base URL and relative URL. The moment you select the data set, automatically these two parameters pop in. Automatically, these two parameters pop in. Okay, fine. Click on base URL checkbox, click on add dynamic content, just click on source base URL. So I'll say here source base URL. Okay, same I'll apply for relative URL also. Okay, I'll say here add dynamic content, source relative URL. I'll say here, okay, fine. Now click on sync tab, click on sync dataset box knob and select this one, this dataset, this DS destination. Okay. Okay, this dataset knob and select the dataset, this one. This dataset we have created above. So this dataset we have not created, right? We have created one dataset, but not with this name. We have created dataset not with this name. We have created dataset with this name, DS destination. Okay, so somewhere here I have mentioned to create a dataset for our destination, right? So do I mention the name here? Link services we have created here. Okay, Acha. See the dataset we are supposed to create with this name. The dataset we are supposed to create with this name. No problem. I have created with this name. So this dataset I'll give it. Fine. This dataset I'll give it. This is done. Okay. What I'll do after this, after giving the dataset here, okay, I'll do publish all, publish, and I'll do the debug. Okay. I'll say here publish all, publish, and I'll do the debug. Debug. See, the moment I run the pipeline, debug is what? Running the pipeline. Debug is what? Running the pipeline. So the moment I run the pipeline, it is asking me to pass the values for source base URL and source relative URL. These are the two parameters I have defined at my pipeline level. See, source base URL, source relative URL. These are my pipeline properties. Nah? So when I'm running my pipeline, the same two values it is asking me to pass. What I have told, source base URL is the website portal where my file is existing. So what is my source base URL? GitHub. What is this? GitHub. So I'll pass my source base URL as my GitHub and then, okay, no spaces, be careful. Source relative URL. What is this one? This is the path where my file is existing. So in this website, in this GitHub website, okay, in this particular path, my website is there. Okay, see, this is one folder. Under that, in this website, I'm having one folder. Under that, I'm having one more folder. Okay, one folder main. Okay, and then ECDC, and then after that, I'm having one file placed country response.csv. If you go here, if you go to country response.csv, see, Suresh is one main folder, right? That is what we have given. First, Suresh, Azure Data Engineering, Azure Data Engineering batch, ECDC, country response.csv. This is the path. This is the path where our file is existing in this website. In this website or in the portal, where is the file existing? That is the path we are giving here. So what I'm giving country response.csv. I'm giving this file country response.csv. So after giving these values, source base URL, source relative URL, if I say okay here, my pipeline will run and it will load this file country response.csv into my destination here. Here I can expect the file coming. Here my file will come. Here my file will come after I run the pipeline. So I go here and I'll say here, okay. Now see, the pipeline is running. Just hold on. Done. Pipeline succeeded. Come here. Okay. Refresh. Now see your destination container. See, this is the folder path. The file got copied with the complete path from your GitHub. See, country response.csv. The file got copied. What file we have given? If you say here, the value we have given here, what? Country response.csv. Correct, na? This is the file we have given, na? For source relative URL. Exactly that only got loaded into our destination system. Now, what I'll do, I'll say here, I want to copy one more file. So that's what, this is what a complete dynamic pipeline. This is complete dynamic pipeline. Whatever the parameter value, whatever the parameter value you are giving, okay, that file is getting loaded into the destination. The parameter value you are giving as what? File name. The parameter value you are giving it as what? File name. The parameter value you are giving it as what? File name. That file is getting loaded into your destination system. Okay, fine. So what I'll do here, I'll say, okay, source base URL. Source relative URL. Last time we have given this file, na? This time I'll give this file, casedet.csv. Okay. So I'll give the path. See guys, don't include the spaces. Don't make mistakes. Don't, okay, put any extra backslashes, extra characters. Everything character by character should be correct. Then only your pipelines will run and it will give you the expected output. So this time I'm passing the parameter name as what? casedet.csv. So this file I'm expecting should get loaded. Okay, this file casedet.csv. I'll say here, okay. Okay, now the pipeline got started running. Okay, just hold on, let it get completed. Fine. Got succeeded. It got succeeded. Okay. I'll come here. Just go one step back. If your pipeline is failing, then simply understand you have done somewhere something wrong. Simply follow the video recordings. See, the second file got loaded, case.csv. Case.csv. So likewise, okay. Likewise, you can copy any file you want. Okay. Any file you want. Okay. By passing the file name as a parameter value. Okay, fine. Parameters. This is the parameter approach. Okay. Next is what here. See. Next is what here. Okay. Below is the GitHub URL which contains multiple CSV files. If you see here, this is multiple CSV files I have already shown, right? Case.uk India. Case that's all around the globe. This is some COVID related data, guys. This file is having COVID related data, country responses, hospital admissions, testings, how many testings has been done. Okay, COVID related data. Now from above URL path, there are many files and we can pass the source base URL relative URL accordingly and can load the data of any file from GitHub to our Azure storage services in cloud computing. So here dynamically we are passing the URL value of the GitHub account and from where we are directly loading the data to our data lake Gen 2 storage services. Whatever the parameter value you are passing as file name, that file is getting loaded into your destination. Parameters. Next is what variables. They will ask you what they will ask in the interviews, what pipelines you have designed. So you can say here parameters, pipelines I have designed, and you can explain this complete scenario. Okay, from GitHub portal, which we have considered as our source system. And we have designed the pipelines where we have defined the parameters at pipeline level and for our source data set. And whenever the pipeline gets run or whoever runs the pipeline, then the pipeline will ask the parameters values as the form of a GitHub portal link, and the file name would be the parameters value, and that whatever the file name you are passing as parameter value, that file gets loaded into our destination system. This pipeline I have implemented on my own. This is what the R&D I have done with my own. Like this, you can tell in the interviews. Just you have to speak confidently. That's it. Just you have to speak confidently. Fine. Next is what, guys? Next is variable approach. I like the most parameter approach. Variable also I will show you. Okay, variable pipelines, what it is. See, when we create a variable in ADF pipelines, then we can able to modify whenever we want. But while creating parameters, we cannot able to modify any value. So parameters is completely dynamic. Whatever the value you are passing at runtime. See, when you go here, okay, when you say debug, now your pipeline is at runtime. Your pipeline is at a runtime. Correct now. So whatever the value you are passing at runtime, that file is getting loaded. But for variable, it is not the case. It's something like, you are declaring the variable value before the runtime of the pipeline, before runtime. Okay, see, now delete the parameters of the pipeline. Go to the pipeline, parameters tab, select the two parameters what we have created, source base URL, source relative URL, and click on delete on the top. So I'm deleting the parameters for the pipelines. I'll just say cancel here. Okay, I'll go to the pipelines. This is my how to see the pipeline properties. If you want to see these properties of the pipeline, just simply click here on this white area. Click on this white area. You will see, select and say delete. This is the parameters I have deleted. Click on variable tab plus new, define two variables here, source base URL, source relative URL. Variables, click on variables plus new, source base URL, same window and default, okay, plus new again, and say here source relative URL. Okay, same website file. Okay, on same window for default value box, pass the URL value for source base URL. Okay, for default value box, default value box, this one, the URL value for source base URL. Okay. So pass this one, website, the portal. So what you are doing here, okay, the value comes under string category. I'm giving type as string. So what I'm doing here, I'm defining the values before the runtime of my pipeline. Source relative URL, pass the below value to the source base URL and source relative URL. This is what I'll give. Fine. So what file? casedet.csv. This file will get loaded because I'm passing this value. So casedet.csv already there. So what I'll do, I'll simply delete this folder. Okay, casedet.csv, I'm going to load by variable. So what you can do here, before running the pipeline, you are passing the values here. In parameters, you are passing the values at the runtime. Multiple options, guys. Multiple ways I am showing you in your projects. It depends. Some projects will take variable approach. Some projects will take parameters approach. It depends upon. Okay. So I am saying here now, this is done. Click on copy data control, click on source tab, click the box base URL. Okay. What I'm saying, copy data control, come here, click on this copy data control. Okay. Then the settings has been changed. These parameters we have deleted, na? These parameters we have deleted, na guys? That's why it's showing errors here. Okay. Click on source tab, click the box base URL. Window will get open right side. Remove the old expression, variable tab in newly opened expression, and okay, just delete this too. Delete, delete. Because that is the parameters we have defined previously that we have deleted. That's why it's pretty obvious that at dataset table also it will throw errors. Okay, that's why I'm saying here, delete it. Remove the old expressions. Click on variable tab in the newly opened window. Okay. Click on the variable tab in the newly opened window. Okay. Click on source base URL. Okay. Click on source base URL and then say here, okay. Same you have to follow relative URL and dynamic content variable, say here relative URL and say here, okay. So what you are defining at pipeline level, variables, that variables values you are reading here at your data set source. Okay. Publish all, publish debug. Okay. Now to check whether the data file is getting data or files is getting loaded into the destination with our variables or not. So I'll say here publish all, publish. Okay. To check whether the data or files is getting loaded into our destination with variables values or not. Okay. We have passed the values to variables, but if you want to overwrite the variables values sometimes, then we can use the set variables. Set variables is another concept. Leave this one as of now. Set variables is another concept. Leave this now. First, we'll check whether the file is getting loaded with the variable concept or not. Here in runtime, it is not going to ask you anything. Okay. Notice, guys, please observe. Okay. In parameters approach, it is asking for the values in runtime. Okay. And whatever the file name you are passing, as parameter value, that is getting loaded into your destination. Okay. In variables approach, okay, in variables approach, it is not asking any value in runtime. Instead, okay, instead, it is asking you to define the values for your pipeline before the runtime. Before the runtime. Okay. And when you run the pipeline, when you do the debug, automatically it will load that file. Which file it is going to load now, that you can see here. Okay. Click on the pipeline canvas area, and here source relative URL. This is the parameter we are defining, variable we are defining for our file name, case.csv. If you check here, we are not having anything in our destination storage account. Come here, say here debug. This is very simple but very tricky. Very simple but very tricky. See, did it ask somewhere to pass the value? No, it is not asking. It didn't ask any value. Like parameters, it didn't ask any value. It straightforward started running the pipeline, and the pipeline is in queue. The pipeline is in queue. Okay. So just hold on. Yeah, see, succeeded. It got succeeded. Come here. Let's go one step back. Take a refresh. Now see, it has loaded the file with our variables approach, case.csv. If I go here, what is the file? I have given case.csv. Getting guys? Any file name, any file path you pass here, accordingly that file will get loaded. Okay, this is what variables approach. Parameters approach. This is parameters approach. This is variables approach. Next we are having is what? Set variables. What is this set variables? Set variables will override the value of the variables. Set variables. Okay. Set variables will override the value of the variables. Okay. Whatever the value you have given for your variables, okay, that values it will ignore. It will ignore, and it will consider the values what you have given for your set variables. Okay, fine. Parameters, variables, set variables. So see here what I'm giving in the material. See here, we have passed the values to variables, but if you want to override, okay, if you want to override, okay, the variables values sometimes, then we can use the set variables control. Okay, on what scenarios we can use this concept? On what scenarios? Normally, as per your project standards, these files has to be loaded into your destination systems, but sometimes as part of the testing, your application team is requesting to load some other files into the destination, not the files which is as usual, which is getting loaded on regular basis. They want to do some testing on the application data kind of, and they are asking you to load some other files. So instead of disturbing the existing setup, instead of disturbing the existing configuration, standard configuration of your project, you can use this set variable values. You can run the pipeline only once. Okay, and what the values you are passing for set variable, that values will be your file's name, and that files will get loaded into your destination system. Okay, fine guys. So see what I'm saying here. In activities pane, search for set variables, drag and drop this control in area of pipelines before copy data control. So I'll say here set variables. Okay, set variable. I'll drag and drop here before the copy data control. Okay, fine. Establish a connection with green line. Click on set variable control. Establish a connection with green line. Click on set variable control. In general tab, give name as set variable. Click on the head of this control. You will see the properties of this control. Click on set variable. Click on settings tab. Name source relative URL. Okay. What I'm saying here? Source relative URL. Okay. Source relative URL and pass value as this one. So see here. Testing.csv file I'm trying to load. Testing.csv file I'm trying to load. Okay. So notice one thing. At pipeline level, at variables, I have defined case.csv, right? At pipeline, at variables, I have defined case.csv file to load. But set variables, I have given the value I'm defining testing.csv. I'm giving this one. So if I go here to my destination storage account, if I delete this one, okay, now it is empty. Which file it will load? Which file it will load? Okay, pipeline, ADF pipelines. Okay, which file it will load? Does it load testing.csv or case.csv? Which file it will load? It will load this file or it will load this file. Which file? It will load a set variables value file. It will load a set variable values file. Okay. Fine. So what I do here, I'm saying testing.csv. I'll say here, okay. Okay. Fine. I'm giving this value. Now publish the pipeline debug. And if we notice the variable value that what we have passed for pipeline has been overwritten by the variable value that we have passed for set variable control. Okay, if you see here now my destination is empty. Okay, I'll do the publish all. I'll do the publish. Publishing completed. Click on close. Say here debug. Now see it will load testing.csv. It will load testing.csv. Okay, completed. Come here. See the magic now. Testing.csv. It has ignored the value for our pipeline variable, that is case.csv. This file it has not loaded. That's what I am saying here. Okay. Set variables will override. Sorry guys, this is override the value of the variables. These all concepts you have to keep in mind. The best approach, and normally what I have seen in the projects, is parameters approach only. Because parameters is completely dynamic. Whatever the value you are passing for your parameter, okay, that parameter value as the file name, that file is getting loaded. Okay, and it is completely dynamic. But here it is not asking for any runtime, and here it is overriding the value for the variables from your GitHub portal. Okay, hence like this we can override the values of the variables. using set variable control with ADF pipelines in our ADF studios. Okay. Very tricky, guys. Very tricky. So these things you have to keep in mind now. Okay. Creating dynamic pipelines. We are creating one more dynamic pipelines. Okay, with lookup activity to get the count of the files from JSON. This is a completely different scenario. This is completely different scenario. Till now, what we were doing, till now, we are keeping the files inside our storage account, right? We are keeping the files inside our storage account here, right? And we are getting the file counts. Okay. We are keeping the files, okay, inside our source storage account, and we are getting the file counts with the get metadata control. But sometimes what happens, sometimes your client will keep the source files in JSON. It will keep the source files in JSON, and it will ask you to get the files count, files info, and then load the files into the destination systems using ADF. Okay, see, lookup activity can retrieve a data, okay, from any of the data sources supported by the data factory and Synapse pipelines. We can use it to dynamically determine which objects to operate in a subsequent activity. Instead of hard coding the object name, some objects examples are files and tables. Okay, it is talking about the lookup activity. Okay, so in this lab, we are going to use the lookup activity. That's why I'm giving an explanation about the lookup activity. Okay. Okay. Fine. So there is no diagram for this one actually. For this lab, there is no diagram. I was looking for the diagram. I'll give you the diagram, no problem. Okay, fine. Lookup activity can be used to read a config file, to read a single row, to read a config table. For multiple purpose, we can use it. We use this lookup activity to retrieve the data from multiple sources. It can read and return the content of the configuration files from the tables. Configuration files from the tables. Okay, so go to the below link. If you see here, this is my GitHub. This is my GitHub. Okay, click on code, download the zip. Click on code, download zip here. Okay, the complete zip folder will get downloaded in your laptop. Right click, extract all, extract, double click on Azure Data Engineering. This is the steps. This is the steps to get this JSON file. These all steps you have to do, okay, to get this JSON file. Or else simply, this is the JSON file I have attached in the material. Get this JSON file. Okay. Get this JSON file in your laptop, something like this, and then load it into your source system. That's it, finished. Follow these steps. Okay, all step by step I have given here. Okay, click on code, download zip. So this is the code. Click on download zip here. Zip folder will get loaded into your laptop. Okay, the complete folder will get loaded into your laptop. Right click, extract all, extract. After it gets loaded in your downloads, okay, right click, extract all, extract. Okay, all these steps I have given. Double click on Azure Data Engineering. Double click on Azure Data Engineering batch main. Again, double click on Azure Data Engineering batch main. Okay, so folder under a folder we are having. Okay, fine. Go to config folder. Where is config folder here? This one. Okay, fine. Config folder in your laptop in downloads only. Double click on section 5 folder. Config folder. Then go to section 5 folder and okay, open ECDC file list for files, two files.json in Notepad++. This is the file. Okay, you can open it in a Notepad++. This is the software. If you want, you can install it. Okay, this file I'll drag and drop here. See, this is what my JSON file. What is this file? See, this is my JSON file. See, JSON file. And my JSON file is having two files, that is CSV files, this one and this one. So two files are there, that is fine. If there are 15, 20, 50, 100, 150, 200 files, can you get the count of those files? 200 files are there in your JSON. Can you read the count of those files? No. Two files, it's very easy to tell. Okay, this one, what is there? It's very simple. But if there are 200 files, can you count? A human eye cannot count 200, 100, 150 files, 10, 15, 30 files, maybe we can count it. So as such, when you are having a requirement where you are getting the files in your GitHub, okay, and that information is captured in your JSON file, and from there you have to extract the data and load it into your destination using ADF, then this is what the approach. Different scenarios we are covering, guys, in all our labs. Different scenarios we are covering. Okay, so this I'll start in tomorrow's class. Okay, this I'll start in tomorrow's class. This is small lab only, but I'll take it in tomorrow's class. Hopefully tomorrow we can do 2 labs. Okay, this lab is small only, is getting finished here. So after that we are having next lab, we'll start this one. Okay, fine. So I'll start this lab in tomorrow's class. Okay. So if there's any questions, guys, put me the questions. I'll take up your questions. Okay, fine. So how was the demo? Is it easy to understand the demo? Yes, no? Okay. Dhananjay, clients will put the data in different systems, ma. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Solution B. That's why we are having the video recordings. You do it. You can ask me in tomorrow's class, or else in Monday's class, or else next week after 5 days also you can ask me. It's not something today's questions. So today's questions you should ask in today's class only. You can ask me after 10 days also, no problem. Okay. Shilpa Sahu, for GitHub, it will be you will be getting the credentials. You will be getting the credentials. So instead of using anonymous, I have used anonymous. So instead of using anonymous, you can use the authentication approach, wherein it will ask you to pass the user ID and password also. Okay. So right now I'm having the data in my GitHub in the public cloud. Okay. Public GitHub account. That's why I have set it as anonymous. It's very simple. In real-time projects, it will be in the private account of the GitHub. You will be given the access for it to fetch the data, user ID and password. You will pass it. That's it. What is the next question in today's lab? Folder structure also created. How to prevent if I don't want the folder structure to be created and only files it needed to be copied. Okay, so in that case, folder structure, yes, normally folder structure is there everywhere in the project I have seen. Because if you won't maintain the folder structure, if you won't maintain the hierarchy, then you are getting the data from variety of different what I can say sources. So complete data will get messed up. The folder structure, what you are seeing, it's very simple. In real-time projects, the folder structures are much more detailed and much more complicated. Okay, so folder structures is their must. If you don't want, then you just create one folder, put all the files in that folder only. Okay. The approach is like that only, Anvita. Okay. But CSV files, okay. So only we are changing the expression there. That's it. For CSV files, zip files, whatever it is, we are just changing the expression, Anvita. That's it. Okay. So the tools and activities what we are using is same only. Okay. So yeah, Anvita, for this one, you have to check the video recordings, ma. Check the video recordings very patiently. Check the video recordings click by click. I think I told, right? If pipeline is getting failed, simply understand that you have done somewhere something wrong. Okay. So patiently look into the video recordings. You will find out what mistake you are doing. Okay. So most probably the issue, Anvita, why your pipeline is getting failed might be you are doing some mistake in, setting up the business expressions. Put it properly. See here, many students in my previous batches, I have experienced what they will do, they will make mistakes here. For base URL and relative URL, they'll pass wrong values. Like they will put extra dot, or they will put some space, or they will make some spelling mistake. Okay, like this kind of simple mistakes will happen. It happens with me also. I'm not saying, okay, it happens with everyone. So this you have to be very diligently, you have to handle this one. Okay, it will be simple mistakes only. Okay, and I have seen what students will do. They will not give the proper data sets by mistake. See, we are doing here now with 2 data sets. Going forward, we are having 4, 5, 6 data sets also. The demos are too complicated going forward. Okay, so proper data set tagging has to be done. Proper data set implementation has to be done. Okay, so the upcoming demos are a little bit more complicated. Fine. So the only solution is you have to be giving 100% attention when you are watching the videos. So do these labs by watching the videos 2 to 3 times. If pipelines are getting succeeded, data is getting loaded, then only you are achieving. You are getting errors means it's of no use. Okay. So when we start SQL, it will be much more complicated, guys. Now we are going to start extracting the data from SQL databases also, from SQL tables. On top of the SQL tables, we are implementing the data sets. It is completely different scenarios, depends upon you are going to see that demos as well. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, I'll just close the class for today. We'll connect again tomorrow. See, guys, again, I'm reminding everyone, tomorrow we are having class at